Okay, several exciting things have happened since the last time I showed you this. I thought I'd start this video by showing you my setup process for a new floor. This is map 03, which is another rocky caves floor. You'll go down here briefly at the start of the game and then come back up again, just to give you a taste of some obstacles and encounters. So let's see where I'm starting. That's 112.17, so that must be 112.18. I can actually change this to wireframe. It makes it a bit easier to do. Alright, let's start with this. So 112.18, that. Okay. And I'll just make them all 0 just now, as I follow the pattern around. This isn't the most elaborate thing in the world. I would have liked to make this a bit more automated. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I just have to copy the layout that I've put into the level into this, so I can then set up the danger level of each square and the monster population that's going to be in it. Okay, that's the squares up there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3. That's there. That's 8, 9. Yes, that looks like. Does it look? Does it look like that? That's 10, 8. Well, that's 9, 8. Where have I gone wrong here? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 9, 14. 9, 908. Oh, do you know what? I was looking at that instead of that. You see the difficulty with this system that I've made up for myself. Okay, I think that's the whole floor sketched out. So now I can do the encounter rates. I'm going to make a moderate encounter rate for most of this floor. I'm going to leave out the exit. I'm going to put this in there. I'm going to leave this entire room as encounter free, which you'll see why later. And a similar idea for this. There's a switch here at square 10411. And I think it'll work. We'll put an encounter on there, the possibility of an encounter on there as well. We'll see what happens. So, we've got some free squares where monster encounters will not happen. Those are the light green ones. We have some squares that will add to the danger meter a reasonable amount. And instead of using a monster population I've done before, I'm going to create a new one. I'm actually going to create a new monster party for this. This is getting more elaborate by the day, as you can see. I'm just going to create a new monster party called Scientist Head 2. I'm just going to copy the name Incomplete Zombies. Clear the colours from here. And what this is doing is telling the game that I want to have a monster appear in this particular slot on an arena, and all the arenas have 10 slots for monsters, where you can specify what monster appears there. So I've got one party of incomplete zombies where there are 2 zombie men, 2 headless scientists. I'm going to do one where there are 3 zombie men close to you. And 1, I'm trying to decide zombies. Yeah, let's do a headless scientist in maybe not a sniper position, just nearby. Not right up close, but nearby. Okay. So to use that monster party, I've now got to go to my monster party groups. I'm going to create a new one, 7, and it's going to contain Scientist Head 2, and there's a possibility of Scientist Head 1 as well. Let's make it. You'll mostly get Scientist Head 2. There's a 2/3 chance of that, and then Scientist Head 1. Alright, so now I just apply that number to my squares. I'll do it all throughout this floor, just for now. And that looks good. Okay, let's go to my batch file. Just run.bat. This is a little thing that I put together to gather all the data and compile all the ACS without me having to do it manually every time. Yeah, there's a PHP script that will connect to the Google API, and then it'll do ACC and so on. So let's run, and that will start our game. Okay, so this is where the game's going to start, Lonely Caves, and immediately you can see I've got a dialogue system working. I stole a significant amount of code from JP Le Breton, Vector Poem, to do this. His boilerplate ZScript writes textures to the screen stuff is extremely useful. I'm starting to get the hang of more ZScript, going a bit deeper, but I'm very much on guardrails just now. I'll show you how it all works later. The other thing, the pack at the bottom of the screen, I will get to you very shortly. We're going to pick up a discarded gun, which doesn't actually do anything just now. I'm still just giving the player a pistol and 50 bullets at the start of every fight. We take the medikit from the chest, and we can press Q to open our inventory here. Again, sprite very much stolen from JP, Vector Poem. This was from Mr. Friendly, and I adapted it a bit. And you can move things around, you can use them. I can't use it just now because I'm at 100% health, but there are going to be a lot of possibilities here. And that's done by keeping an array of inventory slots, which are thinkers, each of which can be empty, or they can be one of its subclasses, a few different items. Then you check to see if the mouse is over an item, you decide what to do about clicks, depending on whether an item is already on your cursor or not. There's a lot there, and it's really quite fascinating to do. Alright, here's where you're introduced to encounters. We might get one here. We didn't get one here. So we'll almost certainly get one down here. I actually maybe want the encounter rate to be a little higher here, just to make sure the player gets one when they're on the way towards this chamber. Alright, an encounter with incomplete zombies. And this looks like the one where we had 2 headless scientists and 2 zombie men. I need to adjust how many bullets this fight gives you, because you'll soon be full of them. We've got some real-time traps going, as you can see. Normally, Doom fireballs make you... they push you when you're hurt, but that made the player misaligned with the grid, so I had to subclass them and set a flag saying don't push anything, or something like that. There we go, okay. So let's actually heal myself a bit. I'm going to take what's in this chest. Take the radiation suit. That's actually going to be a medikit, but I just wanted to show you that I can swap things around and so on. I'm going to right-click on medikit. That'll heal me 25 health. I think there are just some coins in this chest. No, ammunition. Event system as well. Oh, I'll get back to you. Oh, here it is. Here's the one that 3 zombies teleport close to you, and 1 headless scientist a bit further away. So the event system is very basic, but I'm not going to be too ambitious with it. This project has actually got more complete than I anticipated it being when I started doing it for Nano Wadmo. Yeah, we are back at where we started, but we've got rid of those bars. There's going to be a little side here where you can't do this immediately, and you have to go down through this these tunnels, explore a bit more, then reach a sort of home base. I'm not sure if it's going to be a town in the RPG sense or what it's going to be, but somewhere you can go back to and heal up and adjust your equipment and things before venturing down again. And this was an early attempt at a button that didn't work. I need to replace that with the event system that works again. I really enjoy not being limited to grid spaces. The grid spaces are just in the data behind the game, and what you see as a player is much more elaborate. I don't have to be strictly aligned with the grid. And from here, the game is pretty much as you've seen so far. I haven't adjusted it to add events to this place at all. The switches are just normal Doom line def actions, which I get for free, which is very nice. So, I've got some serious stuff going on now. You can see the amount of ZScript I'm putting together. I've grown to really enjoy it because when you're making objects that have to react to things, you don't have to work around what you want to do by putting in states and calls to ACS so much. For example, the chest, you define that you can give arguments for its contents, how much cash, ammunition type. When post begin play, this is where you set it up. You give it an item ID. I have to do this weird switch case because there's no way to get an item class name from its DOMED number that I can see. So that's a bit clumsy, but it works. You can specify the item 123 is either a Megasphere, Randsuit, or Medikit just now. How many coins, ammunition, or ammunition type it contains. And then you just leave it there when it spawns, and you can then specify when it's used. If it hasn't been opened yet, then we check to see whether inventory is full. If it is full, then we start the conversation, cannot take chest. If it hasn't been taken and the inventory is not full, open it. We set the chest to open. We signal to the data library, which runs in the background, that we want to open this particular chest, and start the conversation, open chest. So that's all pretty nice. The fireball traps work in much the same way, where post begin play, you set up the arguments, and then instead of having to time yourself by putting in states and numbers of frames, you just put a tick function in, add to your tick since last, and then if it is over the maximum tick since last, then throw a fireball, set it to 0, and it'll keep going. The biggest thing that's challenged me in ZScript is the concept of scope, which works a bit differently from the way it does in every other language that I've ever used, because you don't have to worry just about whether your variable is in your object or not, or what access it has. You've also got to be aware of whether you're in the UI scope or the play scope or the clear scope, which you can say this is okay to access from both UI and play, but then it becomes data scope, which can only read from one or the other, or something like that. But the ideas of it are slowly getting to me. The idea behind this, this is quite a big file, ui.zs. It's got all this boilerplate stuff that JP wrote, which I'm extremely grateful for. It takes a lot of the calculation out of doing a lot of this. If I go up to, let me see. Yeah, render overlay. This is where this object really starts. Every frame it's going to call render overlay to make decisions about what should be pasted to the screen. It makes me a bit uneasy because I work with HTML so much, which you just write once and it stays where it is. In this, you have to draw things to the screen on every frame and do all the decisions. But that seems to be how you do it. I haven't blown it up yet, so we'll see. We need to initialize it if it hasn't been initialized yet. We test to see whether we should be showing the inventory screen or not, whether we should be showing an event dialog or not. And then we do some drawing up here, so draw dialog. All of this just makes it fade in slowly from 0. I'm not thrilled about having all this in the UI, the decision of what chest we're opening and so on, but it works well enough. Or draw the inventory screen, where we get the inventory slots from the data library, and we write all those out. We draw textures for the backpack and so on. So that's working well enough. Input process is where you start to react to things by the player. Again, I've got show inventory screen and show event dialog in my intermediary data library so that I can access it from either the play side, the ACS side, or this. Then there's a lot of decisions about whether you've got an item on the cursor or have you just put it down and so on. Then you look for your event type that called input process, and you decide what to do based on that. If you want to just let it through and let the game handle it, you return false. If you're going to handle it yourself, you return true. So this way you can freeze the player if an inventory screen's up or an event screen is up, and not let them move around. So once you've done that, you have to send a network event, because you can't react to this key press here. You can't do anything to the play sim, whatever you call it. You need to send network event, click past dialog, and then in network process, you then check for your events if you've clicked past dialog, and here you can start altering things that aren't just in the UI. You can change some data around, you can add to the player's inventory, whatever you want to do. So I'm never sure if I'm doing scope right. I'm never sure if I'm doing anything right, to be honest. But all of this is coming together now, and I think this is going to be a, if not complete, then at least playable game by the time October is over. We'll see, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your own creations as well.